When it comes to working at a theme park, not everybody survives. So when it comes to working at a theme park, it turns out that not everybody can handle every single role in the park. This was more an issue at Silver Dollar City than it was at the other parks, in particular on the train. But I did see it at Disney as well. Photopass was not a terribly hard job, but it turns out that not everybody can use a camera efficiently, no matter how much you train them, and not everybody can deal with guests. I can actually remember one photographer we had that, I don't think this guy liked people. I only worked with him a couple of times. Then he kind of disappeared after that. I remember working with him once on Main Street at Magic Kingdom, watching him kind of growl to people as they walked up to ask about a photo.
"Line's over there! Wait your turn! I'll be with you in a minute!"
I was kind of like, dude, hello, they're the ones paying your wage. That's not how you treat people. And the one other time I worked with him was with some characters where we had a multiple character shot. When they were coming up to him, he was growling at him.
"Over there! That's where the line is! Wait your turn! You'll get your chance!"
I'm like, dude, he didn't last long. I don't know if he transferred out or if they encouraged him to move somewhere else or if they just encouraged him to work a completely different company. I saw him 2-3 times and then poof. Not the kind of person we wanted. Then there were those people that no matter what you did, they couldn't seem to take a good picture. It was always crooked or not framed right, and we had pretty simple guidelines on the kinds of pictures that Disney wanted us to take, but there were some that just couldn't seem to do that. One person, no matter what they did, their castle was always crooked. Somehow this person managed to get pictures, and we would talk about this as photographers and laugh. They would get the people straight, and yet the castle would be crooked. I still don't know to this day how they managed to get people this way in the background this way, and it made no sense. They were there for almost a year, I want to say, maybe more, before they finally transferred to a different division. But how do you do that? Usually their pictures would get screened, and if somebody was consistently taking bad photos, they would be caught and retrained, and if they still continued to do that, then eventually they would move them on. But Photopass is pretty lenient in that regard. The train at Silver Dollar City, though, it was different. You see, the train is kind of a unique place at Silver Dollar City, and when I was there, we were carrying on a great tradition of 50 years of train robberies in operation. A lot of people come into the train and think it's going to be like any other ride, and you do have all the operations and the safety and stuff of other rides there. But then you also have the added bit of the actual robbery, in which case you have a whole big script you have to memorize and you have to perform and do a show. And you would have other people that would come in and expect to be acting professionally. And it's both, but neither. In fact, the biggest problems that we had with people coming out were people who wanted to treat the robbery like they would a stage show. Now, I have some stage experience, and I've done a little bit of TV commercials. It doesn't work the same way. You can't come out expecting the stage out in the middle of the woods, and your acting methods are very different. One of the biggest issues we had was people who wanted to come in and treat it like professional theater, and you can't do that. It doesn't work. We had one guy that was out there, and I only worked with him for a couple days. His first thing when he gets the script and he's in the woods with us, because we would oftentimes start people in the woods training as one of the robbers, and he's complaining about there not being any stage direction. Where's the stage right? Where's the stage left? Where's this? And we're kind of going, dude, just read the script and let it work for you. And he then proceeds to start trying to tell us, who've been doing this for a while, how to do our jobs. It was really kind of funny when he started telling Rick, a guy who's been out there for 25, almost 30 years, and he was trying to tell Rick how to do this. And Rick's going, hello? I'm your trainer and I've been doing this for decades. The guy just did not get it. When we did finally let him try a couple robberies, he over-exaggerated and cartoonized the robbers, which is actually a fairly common thing, and you have to learn not to do that. But when we came back in to talk about it, His response was,
Well, this is the way it's supposed to be done. I'm a professional, I know.
professional didn't last very long. All I remember is getting very upset with the guy. I don't even remember his name. He just irritated me because rather than listening to the people who know what they're doing, he proceeded to try to order us around. And, dude, that ain't gonna last very long. He's another one. I honestly don't know if he just quit or if he went somewhere else or what. We did have a summer program, too, where we would have young college guys come in. And some of those were great, some of them not so much. We had one young man come in named Blaze. Blaze was this very quiet, sweet, soft-spoken, polite gentleman who was we would tease him to stop calling us sir because we were always sir. Yes, sir, what can I do for you, sir? I'm not sir, I'm George. And we would get out for the robbery, and Blaze was very quiet. Hey, can we get that train? And he's trying to speak so polite because he's trying to be mean, but he's not mean. He can't get the gruff out there. It was not working. We love Blaze to death. Sweet guy, but it was not working. And so then Rick, the same guy, because we liked Blaze, took him out on one day. Hey, you've never been to the Ozarks. I think he was from Texas, if I remember right. Let me take you out on a motorcycle ride around the area, and let's just go talk. Well, somewhere during that motorcycle ride, Rick got to Blaze, and Blaze came back. He was louder, which you had to be because of our sound system. The sound system wasn't great. But he was louder, and then all of a sudden, something clicked with him as far as the robbers.
Fight up! Fight up! Fight, fight, fight! Oh, no, no! Fight up! Push him back, way back! Push him back, way back! Rock! Stop!
See, the robbers play better if they're not cartoons, but they're part of yourself. They're better if you actually play them semi-seriously as straight people because they can be a whole lot funnier that way. And Blaze, rather than trying to be something he wasn't, suddenly allowed the robber to become him, or him to become the robber. And so he ended up with this hysterically funny, very soft-spoken, but loud enough to hear, polite, well-mannered, dumb robber. And it was funny. It was just basically, it was a projection of himself, which is what worked great as a robber. And so Blaze turned around from becoming what was about to be a washout, our term for somebody that couldn't hack it, and suddenly hit it. We had another college guy, though, that unfortunately, we had two actually that never got it. One always tried to turn poor Ralphie, the dumber of the two robbers, into a caricature, even to the point where he would run in a bad way. He would stick his rump out and arch his back and do this kind of... And we're like, dude, Ralphie is a normal person. Stop making him like that. That's not right. Didn't like it for multiple reasons, found it insulting and offensive, and he just would not stop that. He found himself conducting a lot more than robbing because he couldn't do the robbery well. We had another young guy, the same year in fact, that was kind of the same thing. It was an attitude and just, I know how to do this, and didn't have the lines down. Oh, that was one. We had an older gentleman who was probably my age, a little bit older, couldn't memorize the script. You've got to at least memorize the main core of the script because there's certain lines that you absolutely have to deliver, and he couldn't do it. He couldn't remember his lines. He would say the other people's lines. He'd say the conductor's lines when he's a robber, or he'd just blank and stare, and you're kind of going, dude. He would cut you off in the middle of your line, and it was bad. We worked with him for about a month. Normally, we were given about 1 week to memorize the basic script and then try to increase from there. We gave him a month trying to work him through, trying to help him through, and it just didn't work. Sorry, we finally got him transferred another place because he couldn't do it. He just would mess everything up. He would be Alfie, and he would be going, "Hey, Alfie, when are we going?" I'm like, "You're talking to yourself. What are you doing?" It drive you nuts. In fact, it's one of the struggles I have with some of the people on the train now. They've been doing it years, and they still can't get the script straight. Yeah! The other thing that happened on the train, though, is because we were isolated in the woods, we had a kind of an extra health code. We were not in a place that if there was a medical emergency, that first aid could get out to you quickly. Because of that, if you had a health issue, it could very easily prevent you from doing it. We had one gentleman that I enjoyed working with named Tiny. Yeah, Tiny wasn't tiny. But as he was getting older, he began to have some health issues that became a concern. Things that they were worried about, that he might have an episode out in the woods, and it was not going to be a good thing, so they wouldn't let him do that. In fact, there's actually at least 3 guys I know of that because of potential medical issues, they pulled them off of the train because they were worried about them having a problem out in the woods somewhere where they wouldn't be able to get help to them. And it's kind of sad because a couple of them were just hysterically funny guys. Safety has to come first. And so they had to pull them because of safety, for their safety as well as the guest safety, because if you have the person who is responsible for other people's safety having a medical issue at a time that they're responsible for them, it creates not just their issue, but then the double issue of the guests, and it became a real question mark. So that was really kind of sad to see a couple of them get pulled for that reason. Usually the biggest reason was just the performance. Acting in the woods was not like acting any other place. It was a very different thing in just learning how to perform and then doing it multiple times a day. Those short 15-minute shows could be exhausting, and you had to know what you're doing. Had to be able to watch the safety stuff while you're doing it. Not everybody could do that, let alone learn how to make a dumb hillbilly robber themselves, or themselves the robber, and make it believable. We lost a few people. Most people that came to the train made it, but we did lose a few. So that's kind of a short story on survival and losing a few of our robbers and photographers. Have you been at a job where not everybody who applied and got hired made it? I'd love to hear your stories too. What's something that people think they can do that they can't? Let me know in the comments below. I want to give a huge thank you for watching, for subscribing, for liking, for sharing the video. If you do want to know more about me as well, please be sure to check the description below. There's links to the fan pages, the Reddit, the websites, the gear, and all of that is below. So be sure to check that out. I also want to give a huge shout out to my patrons for supporting me. My patrons are the ones who financially support me through Patreon and help make it possible for me to travel, to buy new gear, and to do some things I wouldn't be able to do otherwise. So a huge shout out to them. I also want to give a big shout out to Frank Seiler for increasing his pledge, and to my new patron, Scott Burkett. Thank you so much for your support. It means a ton to me. If you want to know more about Patreon and the perks that they get, be sure to check out the link at the end of the video or down below. Thank you so very much for watching, and God bless. While I saw this at Disney at Photopass with a few people, and a couple while I saw this at Disney, okay. But I remember working with him once on Main Street at Hollywood Studios. No, Main Street's at Magic Kingdom. Where the people in the picture were straight, but the camera was crooked. And we're just like, how do you... The camera was crooked? Okay. If you'd like to know about my merchandise, fan pages, and more, be sure to check the description below. If you'd like to know whenever I've got a new video posted, well, make sure you hit that button right up there and subscribe. If you'd like to watch another one of my videos, I've got a great one for you right here. And if you'd like to be like these wonderful people here and support me financially on Patreon, well, make sure you check the link right there. There's even some extra perks for them. Thank you so much, and God bless.